All right, investors, I'm coming back this Sunday morning, real nice and soft because it is Sunday, and I don't want to startle you with my energy. But this Tony Talk vested up insight at 9 a.m., and we got something to talk about. So Jim Harbaugh may not be working officially as a head coach, but John Harbaugh was definitely working this past weekend. From my source that I got last night, yes, last night, I got this information last night. I'm going to my notes today because these are facts. So as of 10:45 last night, this is a hitter. So what I got, Dianna Russini from The Athletic just confirmed that Harbaugh was spending his weekend watching Jackson Dart from the Giants and Cam Ward. Okay, hold on, don't panic. I know I didn't mention Shedeur Sanders, but I'm about to tie this in for you. Now, a lot of people may think if he's not watching film on Shedeur Sanders, he may not be interested. No, that's not the case. That's not the case. I think he's just looking at other options, but we're going to talk about that. Is he truly interested in being the Cleveland Browns head coach? The answer for me is still yes. And I'm going to tell you why. Harbaugh, we already know what he has in Shedeur. Remember, he wanted to draft him last year in the draft. And I'm going to repeat certain things just in case my investors hasn't caught up regarding my videos. Harbaugh wanted to draft Shedeur Sanders last year in the draft at least twice, and Shedeur Sanders turned him down. Okay, so he already knows what he has in Shedeur. He already knows Shedeur's skill set. He knows that. He already knows this about Shedeur. He still likes Shedeur, even if he's not publicly going to say that. He's looking at other options just in case the Browns are not willing to negotiate or give him certain things in his request. All of us have done this before. Even if we have a job in mind, we're still going to look at the other jobs just in case that first option, that first choice that we really want, don't go through. So he's looking at other rookie quarterbacks that he would like to work with just in case just in case him and the Cleveland Browns don't come up with that agreement. That's all it is. So I'm not even panicking. I'm not, because he wants Shedeur Sanders. If John Harbaugh had high interest in Shedeur Sanders when he was still the Ravens head coach, you think his interest in Shedeur Sanders has declined now that he has the opportunity to coach him still? I'm trying to tell you. And why would he go to any other team? All the other teams that may have requested his interview, they don't have Shedeur Sanders. They don't have that momentum. Even though he's 63, he still has an ego. Okay? He wants to go to a team. He wants to go to a team where at least they can compete on the levels of the Ravens. The Cleveland Browns already got one of the elite defenses in the world, in the NFL. All he have to do is come in, get the right pieces around Shedeur Sanders, get those wins. Basically, I mean, really, the work is already done. The work is done. Now, let's talk about the other teams that have requested John Harbaugh for an interview. John Harbaugh has already said he is not going to accept all of those requests. And he will only talk to 3 or 4 of those 8 teams that have requested an interview for him. The Cleveland Browns is still in the running. They're definitely in the top 3, top 4. Okay? I think my source says that he is either going to meet with them Monday or Tuesday. So we'll see what happens. Now let's go ahead and talk about the other list. You said Tony Talks vested up. Why wouldn't the Cleveland Browns meet his demands, all of his requests? Because we already know he wants $20 million annual salary. That's doable. He wants a $10 million coaching staff budget. That's kind of high. No NFL team currently has that amount for a coaching staff budget. Not even Andy Reid, and he's the highest paid coach in the NFL. So I think they can negotiate that. The other term, he wants control of the 53-man roster. I can see that. Give it to him. But then this is the one I have an issue with. He wants to choose his own GM when he comes into the door. I said, no, Andrew Berry will stay there. Jimmy hasn't already made that clear. Andrew Berry is not going anywhere. So they need to compensate him or give him something else on the table that may be attracted to him. But Andrew Berry is going to stay. So if we lose Jim Harbaugh because of that condition, it is what it is. I hate to say that. I think all things can be negotiated. And I know he really wants Shedeur Sanders. Barry is looking for a partner in the new head coach that come in. It seems like if John Harbaugh is making this type of request, that means he's looking for a subordinate. That's not going to work. John, that's not going to work. So we need you to compromise, okay? Andrew is looking for the new head coach to come in, sit at the table. Let's get this right. They have a winning defense. They definitely have a winning offense. Because Shedeur Sanders already would be QB1 for the 2026 start of the season. So we already know that. You know the writing is on the wall. They chose Shedeur Sanders, a 5th round pick, 144, quote unquote, over Kevin Stefanski that had been there 67 years. 67 years, that's writing on the wall. They solid choice was Shedeur Sanders. He is going to start. He's going to start. That's writing on the wall. It's no doubt about that. They chose Shedeur Sanders over Kevin Stefanski. He's definitely going to start. So, and he's definitely not going to get traded, okay? The only way Shedeur Sanders get traded, that if Superman is a viable option in the draft. Superman or He-Man, a viable option in the NFL draft. So Shedeur Sanders is not going nowhere. So I can go ahead and take out all of my other Cleveland merchandise that I still got in the package and make that happen, okay? But this is what I want to go down the list real quick of the coaches that have interviewed, and the ones that I know that's not going to make it, okay? Because they resemble Kevin Stefanski in one way or another, okay? All right, Vesta, so here's that list. So one of my Vestas in my last night premiere, and if you missed that premiere, you need to go back and watch that. Trust me, it was full of money. I'm sorry. Oh, yeah, it was full of money, but it was full of good information. All right, so one of my investors brought up in that premiere, Mike McCarthy. Yes, he is reportedly interested in the head coach job for the Cleveland Browns. He has been linked to the Green Bay Packers and the Dallas Cowboys. I can see that. I could probably see that. Jerry Jones will probably get upset because, Jerry Jones was upset this year that the Cleveland Browns was getting so much attention because they had Shedeur Sanders. Jerry Jones, let me tell you one thing. It was you the one that looked up at Shedeur Sanders. You could have drafted Shedeur Sanders. You knew the caliber of player that he was. You knew the cachet that he brought along with his father. His father even played for you, Jerry Jones, but you decided to look over Deion Sanders and his son. So Jerry Jones, you have lost that. Jerry Jones, be mad at yourself, okay? Let's keep moving. All right, and now also one thing that we have to remember regarding Mike McCarthy, it has not been officially confirmed that he has an interview. He is interested in the job, okay? So let's move forward. All right, so here are some of the other coaches that have been interviewed and that are scheduled to be interviewed. And this information is fresh. It's only 11 hours old. All right, so we're going to keep moving forward. So the first one we got is Todd Monken. Todd Monken is also coming from the Ravens. He was the Ravens offensive coordinator. He was interviewed January the 10th, okay? Then you have Aiden Duray, I hope I'm saying his name right. He is the Seahawks defensive coordinator, interviewed on January the 9th. We have Dan Pritchard. Dan Pritchard is the Bengals offensive coordinator, interviewed January the 9th. Jim Schwartz, he's the Brown defensive coordinator, interviewed January the 8th. A lot of people see that as a possible option since he's already in the organization. But the reason why I don't want that to happen, hold on. And Tommy Rees also is the Browns offensive coordinator, as we know, interviewed January the 8th. No. Even though he's already in the Browns organization, no. So let me go with this list again. Todd Monken, no, I don't see he's an offensive coordinator. Just stay with me now. Aiden Duray, Seahawks defensive coordinator, no. Dan Pritchard, Bengals offensive coordinator, no. Jim Schwartz, Browns defensive coordinator, no. Tommy Rees, offensive coordinator, no. Do you know the reason why they already got the interviews out the way? How can I say this nicely? They were polite in giving them an interview, but they already know those are not the choices they're going with. This is corporate America we're talking about. We're talking about a team that wants to go to the Super Bowl in the next 2 to 3 years. Why would you hire a coordinator, offensive or defensive, if they never had head coach experience? You know why this would be deja vu for the Browns? Because Kevin Stefanski had 0 head coach experience with any team. The roles that he played for the Minnesota Vikings, he was a running back coach, a tight end coach, and a quarterback coach. And let's just say he maybe had 1 year, and I doubt it, 1 year as assistant head coach. And Drew Barry put it out there in that post conference. put it out there in that conference after Kevin Stefanski was fired that Kevin Stefanski had 0 head coaching experience. So the names that I just ran off, not even viable. It's not even possible. They just gave them an interview just to be nice. Now, these are the serious candidates that they are going to give some consideration for. We already know Jim Harbaugh, Mike McCarthy. Yes, he's definitely going to be given a serious look. He's definitely going to be giving him a serious look. He's been associated with the Packers. He's been associated with the Dallas Cowboys, 2 very strong teams. And he also won a Super Bowl. I can see that happen. And he may edge out if he gets the job because he's willing to compromise or negotiate whatever his requirements are. As of now, they have not been publicized. But Jim Harbaugh already put it out there on the table what he's looking for. And he's still interested in the Cleveland Browns. So Jim may already know that he overshot his request on purpose just to see what the Cleveland Browns was going to entertain. And why would the Browns go with Todd Monken, Ravens offensive coordinators, when they can go ahead and get the big fish on the platter, which is John Harbaugh? Besides John Harbaugh, Mike McCarthy, you got Mike McDaniels. No. What can he do for the Cleveland Browns organization when he had a losing record himself this year? As I stated in my last video, Mike McDaniel and Kevin Stefanski, they need to go take 2 to 3 years, 4 or 5 years off, go on an island and regroup. So, hey, investors, I just want to come and bring you that news before the big fish on YouTube get up and start posting videos. That's what happened last night. I got that information around 10:45 last night. This information is only 11 hours fresh. So I'm going to get this video out there. That's why it's not going to be any graphics. I may put 1 or 2 graphics up in here, but it's the information that really matters. And I want you to be informed because, as you know, we got our notes, our drink, and our vest over here. Yeah, it's Sunday morning. I don't have it on, and it's very early in the morning. But next time, I'll make sure when I come back later today, I'll have that vest on. Because you know I'm coming back today. Oh, and congratulations to Caleb Williams and the Chicago Bears. They won in a very dynamic game last night. That thing was action-packed. Final score was 31-27. Chicago Bears moving forward in the playoffs, in the hunt for the Super Bowl. The first action-packed game last night was the Rams versus the Panthers, and they edged out the Panthers in the last minute of the game. The score was 34-31. Jimmy Horn, I know. Shake that off, your man. That ball was too low for you to catch. I know that is a play that you want to get back Jimmy Horn, but it's okay. The only reason we was in that situation because the offense was rolling, steam rolling. The defense on that last touchdown that the Rams got, that was a mismatch in that corner with 84. That corner for the Panthers was too small. I don't have his name. He was too small to go against 84. Carolina Panthers, they made a great effort to win that game. But the ball was just too low for Jimmy Horn. So Jimmy Horn, I know it's probably still eating you up again. But you get him next year, okay? Lesson learned. So just know that, Jimmy. Just know that. I don't see how anybody would have caught that. The ball came to his thigh. He tried to catch it, and then it was there, but it slipped out of his hand. It was just too low. But we shall see. So Jimmy Horns, much love to you from the Steve Auntie. Will Shepard, who's on the Packers, much love to you also. Your season is over also. And I hope that the Cleveland Browns, I hope that Shedeur go ahead and put a bug in Andrew Berry's ear and have you come over to the Cleveland Browns as a receiver, okay? Shout out to all of my CU Buffs players that are drafted in the NFL. And today we got BJ Green, the Shark Cam playing on the Jacksonville Jaguars, so I'll be rooting for them today. All right, investors, I'll talk to you later. All right, Tony Talks vested up insight this morning at 9 a.m. I'll be back with my vest on.